want me to change, they want me to change, but I ain't changing. Nah, I remain.
And you are now tuned into another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio, brought to you by M3S3 Clothing. Men make moves and suckers stand still. And as always, on the mighty Nerd DJs Radio Network. And man, today we got another legend in the building. Trauma expert Dr. Olivia West shall be joining us to hopefully fix some of my past traumas and make me a better overall human being. How you doing, Queen?
I am doing good. Let's get into it. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm doing good. Oh, let me see. What's your T-shirt say? Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiables is my peace, my respect, my joys, my dreams, and my goals.
I like that. Where you get that
My
from?
non-negotiables.
Let's
Come
get
on
him
now.
a shameless plug. Is that yours or you bought that? From
No,
somebody?
this is not. Shameless plug. Don't remember the lady's name, but y'all check out Tiana Von Johnson and her rarity bags at therarityBag.com. If you're here in Atlanta, she's going to be in Atlanta Fashion Week, but I got this t-shirt from one of her vendors at one of her events. So that's the best I got.
Shout out to that sister. Okay, so Doctor O, what is it about trauma? Why trauma?
So um I got into the trauma field, um, basically because when I was getting my master's degree in clinical psychology, I seen how westernized psychology is. Now we know through stigmatization, through generations, and we've probably been, you probably similar to me, it may or may not have been told how therapy is not for us, is for them.
Yeah,
And that's because historically it has been built on the white cis heterosexual male, complex. And so therefore theoretical orientations and things like that are based in, the white cis westernized male, heterosexual male, which oftentimes it does not apply to people of color, or trauma looks a lot different, for people of color. When we look at trauma in the hierarchy of things, according to, what it says in the DSM-5, or our diagnostic manual, if we're looking at that just at face value, then it would take a lot for individuals to maybe experience trauma. We look at that as big T trauma, trauma like war or rape or, a car accident, things that, me or you could look at and be like, oh, yeah, that's traumatic.
right.
But what is missed is on the other end of that spectrum. See, I view trauma on a spectrum. So on the other end of the spectrum is what many people consider as little t trauma. Doesn't mean it is small trauma, but it means that it's not as big as those things that we can, that are more recognizable.
It's not
These are
catastrophic.
things, yes.
Okay. I'm not that bright, so I have to dumb things down for myself.
Not a problem. I'm getting very passionate and get on into it. So
Low T trauma. What's low T trauma?
So little t trauma, which I was getting into, little t trauma is how I define it, is things that are that I call it more developmental trauma. So these are
Okay.
things that have happened to us that impacted us in a traumatic way during our developmental stages. So
Hmm.
these are things that we may not um, view, or we may negate as trauma or a traumatic event. So if we look at African Americans, for example, where many of us may have grown up in a low socioeconomic a neighborhood, high crime, high violence, um, latchkey kid, one parent household. There may have been substance abuse in the household. There may have been domestic violence. There may have been someone, incarcerated. You may have a learning disability or ADHD or um, been bullied at school. All of these things can impact you in a very traumatic way.
Mm-hmm.
What an example that I use with my clients is if we think back and we trace back jobs to when you were, let's say, 4 or 5 years old, getting ready to start, kindergarten, early childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and you look about, I would say you look about my age ish.
I'm
So
pretty sure I'm older than you.
when I was young, we used to get up for the Saturday morning cartoons. It's not like it is today where you got Nickelodeon and all these other cartoon
Yeah.
networks that are on 24 hours. I just don't understand that. But when I was away young, we had two channels. I was the remote control. We had to turn one channel to you to get past the teens. You
I
laughing because
remember.
you heard those.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember those days. A bowl of cereal, watching Tom and Jerry, or Road Runner.
Yes. Get up early and watching some My Little Pony and Thundercats and everything else.
Oh
So
my God.
let's say you're 4 or 5 years old. It's
Mm-hmm.
Saturday morning. You want to get up. You want to watch some cartoons. Mom and or dad is asleep, and so and you don't want to bother them. So you decide that you're going to go into the living room and turn on TV, watch some cartoons. You're going to make yourself some breakfast. You're going to make yourself some cereal, as a matter of fact. So as this little 4-year-old boy, you go into the kitchen, you grab you a bowl, you grab you a spoon, you carry it, you put it on a table. You come back, you get the cereal, you get this big old huge box of cereal, you take the box of cereal, you open it up, you pour it into the bowl, you fill the bowl up completely to the brim because you're a 4-year-old and that's what 4-year-olds do. Then you go back into the kitchen and you open up the refrigerator and you grab out this gallon of milk and you grab this huge heavy gallon of milk that you almost bigger than you, and you take it and you pour it into your cereal, and what happens?
It spills everywhere.
Spills everywhere on table, floor, make a huge mess. At that time, your mom comes downstairs
Oh.
and into the kitchen or dining room. What does your mom say to you?
Oh, mom's just pissed. What are you doing? Why you make this mess? I told you not to go in the refrigerator.
Is that just how your mom would say it?
It's not. Like, mom would be
Yes. So
heated
tell me
about
how
that.
mom would say
What the hell are you doing? I told your ass not to go in the damn refrigerator.
it. Is
Now
that
clean this damn mess up.
now go get this motherfucking paper towels before I get a
Pretty
switch
much.
and whoop your ass. All right?
Although I will say my mom's was not really big on spanking.
Okay, good. But a lot of us, there's word. So when we talk about, spanking, whether it's go get a switch, go get a belt, or what have you, what is that? The pure definition of trauma is death or great bodily harm to yourself or to a loved one. At 4 years old, 5-year old, 6-year old, when your parents say things like, I'm gonna knock you into the middle of next week, you don't know that's not true. You don't have the wherewithal at that age to decipher that when mom say, I brought you into this room, I'm gonna take you out, that is not the way that it processes to that 4 or 5-year old or that young child is as trauma. That's a threat of great bodily harm or death. And so when we think about it, even when it goes into, what are you doing? I told you to wait. Why you make this big old mess? Get on my nerves. Go get some paper towels. Go get a towel. Clean it up. Ah, oh, with your stupid ass. Whatever, is said is now we take that and as that 4 or 5-year old, how do they process that? I can't make any mistakes.
Mm.
I'm a fuck up. Now at that age, they're not probably using those words, but I'm a mess up. I can't do anything right. Maybe it's some internalized core beliefs of that I'm unlovable or I'm unlikable because my mom or dad is doing this to me. They must not love me. And I'm sure we've all been through that phase. Nobody loves me.
Hmm.
When we were kids,
I never thought
everybody
about it that
hates
way.
me. I don't have no friends. All of these things can be internalized and be combined to create our core beliefs, especially when they're reinforced. If we take that instance from your mom or a mom, where you spilling the milk, and now you feel like or internalize that I'm a mess up. Now you go to school, and the first time you learn your letters, and they give you write a D instead of a B, and your teacher comes over and corrects you. What comes up for you? Devil raises his ugly head and says, "See, I told you it was a mess up."
Hmm.
Throughout middle school, high school life, you break up with your first girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. You don't make the tryouts for a team. What happens is that it reinforces. See, I told you. See, I told you. See, I told you. And now here we are as adults, and we're wondering why we're having trouble in our romantic relationships. We're wondering why we're having trouble with parenting our children. We're wondering why we're having trouble in our platonic or friendship relationships. We're wondering why we're having trouble at work. We're wondering why we're having struggling with depression, anxiety, low self-esteem. Well, it's because of these things that we've internalized from our developmental stages.
So let me ask you this. Going back to that scenario,
Mm-hmm.
what would be the proper way to discipline your child, but not hurt them long term?
So an alternative way
Mm-hmm.
would be, still having them clean up their mess. So let's say the parent came down and a parent seen this huge mess. And yes, they're fuming. But instead of yelling at their child or making threats to their child, they say, "Oh my God, Jobs, what the heck were you doing? Or what are you doing? You was in here trying to make cereal? You made this huge mess. Let's go get some paper towels and help me clean it up.
Hmm.
I see that you was down here trying to, you did a good job trying to make you some cereal. It's okay. You made a mistake. We all make mistakes. Let's clean it up."
You know what's
Now, from
interesting?
that,
That's the difference between parenting and grandparenting. Because I got
yes,
grandkids that I'll do exactly that too. With my kids, I was a little more stern.
exactly. And then, but we're not realizing now is how that's impacting them long term. So
Yes, it
now here
is.
I am, an adult, and I cannot conceptualize why I can't achieve certain things, or what's holding me back, why I can't start my own business that I've been having it written down for forever, or why I can't do this or why I can't do that. Well, because what I believe in my core, no matter how much I try to deny it, which most of us do, we disassociate because nobody can really live in what they truly believe about themselves when it's these negative beliefs. No one wants to truly believe that I'm an F up. No one wants to truly believe that I'm a failure. No one wants to truly believe that I'm unlovable or I'm unlikable. So what we do is we fill our lives with um, we fill that void with other things to fill that opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm an F up, then guess what? I'm always going to overachieve to prove that I'm not an F up. I'm going to prove it
Mm-hmm.
to everybody. Even if I keep on effing up, guess what? I'm going to keep on trying to prove it. I'm unlovable. I'm going to find somebody who loves me. And this is the key point, especially a lot of times in a lot of relationships, is that when we are finding somebody just to love us, we miss and negate all of the red flags, or we ignore all of the red flags. It don't matter if he beat my ass every single day. After he beat my ass, he picks me up, he gives me a hug, and he tells me, "Baby, I'm sorry, I love you so much." And he goes,
Hmm.
"Oh, you love me." And guess what? That means that I do not have to focus on the fact that I truly believe that I'm unlovable.
Wow. So divorce. Is divorce considered trauma?
It can be, absolutely.
Because I look at that like a death. To be quite honest, that's the
It
death
is.
of a
So
relationship.
it is. So what a lot of people don't treat it like is that it is a loss. Divorce, lose job transitioning, losing a job, losing a friend, and friendships breaking up. Even it doesn't have to be a divorce. It can be breakup for a relationship. It can be empty nest syndrome. All of those are loss that we grieve and can be very, very, very traumatic for us, just like a death of a person. You lose your mom, you lose your dad, you lose your child, you lose a best friend, you lose a sibling. That's
Wow.
a loss that you're not getting back. And so that's the same with divorce, unless you're of the few who divorce and then get back together. There are those few out there.
And there are some people that divorce is a better relationship for the two individuals. You know, they still love each other. They still really cool. They just shouldn't have never got married, but they can have a great relationship that's just not them being together as a couple.
Well, absolutely. And because it also goes back to, what I said in the beginning. Oftentimes when you are, not a whole person, you have these negative core beliefs about you from unresolved childhood trauma that you experienced, and now you're an adult and you don't have the tools to deal with them or to address them because you were never taught them. So the best thing that we have is to avoid. What I say is like putting them in jars. I put all everything in a jar, like a little mason, little mason jar. Mason jars, they're the best. They keep all the preservatives fresh and everything. Nothing goes bad or spoiled in a mason jar. So I put
Hmm.
all my ish in a mason jar, put the lid on tight, and put it in the top of the cabinet. And I ain't gonna deal with it. I ain't gonna deal with it until it all comes crashing down. Because I don't put too much shit on that shelf. It comes crashing down and it breaks on me. And now I have all of this mess
Yeah.
that I'm trying to pick up and to clean up. But going back and when we're thinking about even a divorce, the thing is going back to, like I said, those red flags. We're ignoring them because we're trying to fill that void and not have to face the fact that I truly believe. Now, we're talking about rational mind and irrational mind.
Hmm.
Rational mind is that I know I'm lovable. I know my parents love me. I know my siblings love me. I know my kids love me. I know my spouse love me. I know my friends love me. I know that. That's logical mind. But
Hmm.
we're talking about illogical or emotional mind when I don't feel like it. And I'm in the down, the worst of the worst, where I'm saying nobody loves me. I'm here all alone. And so what do? We go and we try to fill that void
Yeah.
with people who say, "Oh, I love you." And we accept that and we dismiss all of the other red flags that we were not really compatible to begin with. So as we mature, and sometimes we may go through therapy or we may have other life's experiences to where we're now exposed to either growing and loving ourselves more, or what it looks like to be loved and appreciated or whatever, and we decide, I ain't dealing with this. Because again, it's that we go back to that law of attraction, karma, hurt people. So naturally, you when you're finding your mate, it is something about them that draws you to them or them to you.
Hmm. So, in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
I had heart surgery,
Okay.
and I lost my mother while I was in the hospital.
Wow.
And that whole experience has still, like, there's certain points. For one, I still kind of blame myself for my mother passing. Um, and then there's a couple of points that just still fuck with me
Mm-hmm.
as far as the surgery. Um, the when I got into the operating room, it was like a weight crashed on me. Like at that
Mm,
moment, I realized, yo, I could die.
okay.
And I remember telling the nurse, I was like, literally, I said, oh shit, this is for real.
Mm-hmm.
Like somehow, this whole time, and I was in the hospital over a week. And this whole time, I didn't really, I didn't think about it. You know, I was just kind of focused on my family. It was COVID, so I couldn't get any guests.
Yeah.
So I just let my mind just focus on other shit until that
Mm-hmm.
moment. How,
Mm-hmm.
how, how do I deal with that trauma effectively?
With or without therapy?
Preferably without therapy.
Okay. No, and I ask because there is still, which I respect, there's still a huge stigmatization, around mental health. And sometimes some people, they just want, they want the skills,
Hmm.
without having to come in to, into therapy. Now, what I would say is you're doing good so far as to you are recognizing that it is trauma. You're
Hmm.
recognizing that you're going into the hospital for heart surgery. That was a traumatic event, things that you've experienced. Even what people don't realize is that oftentimes, even when we're under an anesthesia, we're not completely out. And so there may be different things or different parts of the surgery and things like that that we recognize or that we're hearing or that we're noticing that can be very traumatic, not only to us mentally and emotionally, but to us physically, to our body and everything like that, to where it's still trapped in your body. That coupled with the fact that that's when your mom died. And so, as a child, feeling, that sense of guilt of feeling that I was not there because I couldn't be there. I was in the hospital. But I should have been
Yeah.
there. um, that feeling guilty of maybe if I was there then things would have been different, that kind of unknown, or thinking that if I was there she wouldn't have died. Now we know that that may not be rational thinking, but it's our emotional mind. And so that's what we're dealing with, is that irrational emotional mind and concept. So, um, not only as a therapist, but also just as someone who has been in therapy and still in therapy myself.
Hmm.
After both my parents passed away, after some on personal traumas and things of that nature, and trying to do it myself versus having the support of someone else. There's things that I can reach out and I can teach you, so we can sit here and we can say, okay, the reason why you're still having these reoccurring thoughts and things like that is because this has been a traumatic event and it's impacted you traumatically. You can do things like what we may call the grounding techniques to basically help when you're having these thoughts and you're feeling overwhelmed and stressed. You can ground yourself back to the present here and now. We can teach you breathing techniques. All of these different things are basically to distract you
Hmm.
from thinking about the trauma and different things of that nature, but it does not help with the healing process. So that's the benefit of therapy, is that it helps with the healing process.
Hmm.
My apologies.
You all
So
right?
with the healing, it helps with the healing process. It helps to hold you accountable. It has someone there who can, you can talk with and dissect. So it's sort of like what I say is like mowing a lawn. When if you own a home or have a home or ever mowed lawn when you was a kid, and you think of these big weeds that kind of come up, the dandelions or whatever, and you can mow the lawn, you can get rid of all the weeds you have in your lawn looking beautiful for about a week or two.
Yeah.
Then what happens?
They come back.
They come back. And how do you stop a weed from coming back?
Uh, what is it? Weed poisoning?
Weed poisoning, or you dig it up at the root. You got to go down there with your little shovel, your little
Yeah.
hoe, get on your hands and knees, get a little bit dirty. May take some time, but you're going to have to dig it up at the root. Discovering the root and going back to the root cause of things is, where you would get your healing. So we're looking at, in regards to your mother's, death. Well, what are some of the things that are coming up for you? Just for an example, as we said, I should have been there.
Yeah.
So then I could have saved her. If you're feeling those feelings of guilt and things like that, we might want to look at and trace back to where are they coming from? What is your birth order? Are you the oldest? Are you the
Yeah.
youngest? Are you the only male child? What is your birth order?
I'm the oldest.
So you're the oldest. So as the oldest, I'm sure as growing up, there was a lot of different responsibilities put on you, a lot of things that maybe your mom or your parents expected of you. And so all of these things created your core beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a man. I have to do this. So when now, as an adult, when your mom passed away, those core beliefs and things that she's instilled are coming up. And now you're feeling bad and guilty because I'm the oldest. I was not there. I'm the male. I was supposed to take care of my mom. I
Yeah.
did not. Had I did, she wouldn't be deceased right now. Now we know that that's not true, but that's again, it's coming from that emotional mind. But if we go back with you and I doing some work, or you working with a trauma therapist, then we would trace back those thoughts of, well, where do you feel that you were? Where did it first come from that you needed to have to take care of the family? Oh, when I was growing up, mom used to always tell me, "Hey, boy, you the oldest. You need to look out for your siblings. Hey, boy, you the man of the house. Hey, whatever the case may be." And so, because of that, that instilled my core beliefs
Yeah.
about myself, others, and the world around me.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I think? There was, I can't remember the name of the book, but there was a book that they used to have back in the day for black people when they were traveling around the country.
Mm-hmm.
They would have
The
safe
Green Book.
spaces. The Green Book. They need a Green Book for practitioners.
You know what? That is a good idea. Now, they do have similar things, to where they have platforms like therapy for black girls,
Hmm.
therapy for black men, clinicians of color. All of those are, various different platforms that you can go on and find therapists of color to go to. So I guess that would be similar to like a green book. Um, it's more so now really spreading the word about these things. In fact, even probably one of the largest marketing platforms that there is for mental health, which is Psychology Today, they even now have it to where you can filter by ethnicity.
Hmm.
Now, excuse me, you cannot do the laws and discrimination laws and things like that. You cannot ask for, per se, the um, the identity of the therapist, but they can mark on there, or you can search by the population that the therapist serves. So whether it's they serve African Americans, do they serve Asian Americans, or what have you. Now the thing with Psychology Today that's different from therapy for black girls and things like that is that somebody can mark on there that they serve populations of color.
But
Just
really
because
don't.
I serve it don't mean that I am that.
Right. Okay, I got you. See, and I wouldn't just. I would not just do it just for psychology. Like I can't find a black cardiologist.
Mm,
And in my city is the number one heart hospital on the planet.
wow.
And I have, I found one that is a not a staff physician, but a fellow, and that's the
Okay.
closest I've come so far. So I can't like make appointments to go see that guy. I have to wait, and if he decides to stay in this area after he becomes staff,
Yeah.
then I can make appointments with him. But I would really like not just not just cardio, not just for me, but there is a black nephrologist here. There's a black neurologist here. These are people that I personally have met.
Yeah. So
But
anybody kind of like within that medical field, whether it's a
yes,
medical doctor,
yes,
a mental health doctor, a
yes,
nurse practitioner,
yep,
chiropractor, holistic medicine, acupuncturist, all of these things.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's a big reason why a lot of us don't go to the doctor.
Oh, absolutely.
We don't
Absolutely.
feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
I have been in situations where I know that their theoretical base seems sound,
mm-hmm.
but I just don't feel comfortable with that person. And if you don't feel comfortable, especially with something as big as your heart or your kidneys or you know whatever else, but if you don't feel comfortable with your practitioner, you're not going to be as honest as you need to be.
No, absolutely. Because, you know, it's a lot of times it's that stigmatization and the judgment that comes behind it.
Yeah,
So we know that the mortality rate is higher in women of color that are, that when they're experiencing through labor and pregnancy and labor. If we think about that, then a lot of women they choose to have a person of color as their OBGYN. Why? Because I feel safer
yeah,
that you're going to take maybe more care or more extra care. Now, when it comes to other, diseases and things like that, what happens oftentimes is that, that stereotype, and we get afraid of fitting into that stereotype. Oh, well, if I'm honest with my doctor and I say that I smoke weed, then I'm going to fit into that stereotype of just another black person that smoke weed. Now, if I have a black doctor, then I
he ain't
might
tripping
they
on
may
that.
stereotype me just as much, or get on me just as much, but at least I'll feel comfortable with telling them. Why?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they either smoked, they got this currently smoked, they already smoked in their past, they know somebody that smoked, and they know, I'm sure there's somebody in their family that has done a whole lot worse than marijuana. So that judgment is not going to be there because overall the way that we've been shaped by society is that people of color, especially black people, we're dumb, stupid, ignorant, less than, and we're consistently trying to prove that or prove that we're not.
Right.
Even as a doctor, I have to prove or feel like I have to prove that I'm worthy enough or smart enough. There's certain things that I won't do because I'm like, nah, they ain't gonna be sitting up here talking about me on the stage and saying that I didn't, how she a doctor, she ain't a real doctor. As we talked about off camera, there ain't nobody gonna be talking about me and say she ain't a real doctor because, my edges need to be retwisted. You can't look at her. She not a real legit doctor. She can't even afford to get her. Nah, but that's what we go through, no matter what your profession is. As I'm currently, shameless plug, in the process of writing um, my first book. It's called From Dyslexia to Doctorate. It tells not only my story about how, I did not think I was smart enough for college because I had learning disabilities of dyslexia and dyscalculia. And then through the years, how I was able to, after a couple of different career changes, I went back into I went to college and ended up staying all the way through to getting my doctorate degree. And so because of that, I still oftentimes have a complex of, my dyslexia, feeling stupid, being less than others who may think I'm stupid. So I'm very hyper vigilant, especially when it comes to other people wanting this and they more like this. Am I stupid? Yes, I'm a doctor. I got this whole PhD, but are they going to belittle me, degrade me, and try to um, devalue me?
So you still have like that still bothers you?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my! Let me. So, at what point did you find out that you had dyslexia, and what's dyscalculia?
So I recall back finding out I had dyslexia in kindergarten, like at 4 years old.
That's
Um,
beautiful. Like, cause
well,
that's unusual that one of us they would go that route to even look.
well, it's beautiful if it's something that's done about it. So shout out to my kindergarten teacher. Never forget her, Miss Fox at Martin Luther King Elementary School in Oakland, California. Shout out.
Child Miss Fox.
She's still alive, or her descendants, because she was old back then. So,
Well, hopefully you still around, Miss Fox.
yeah, she was. I never forget her, and I've looked for her many a times. But I'm thinking Miss Fox from Martin Luther King Elementary in Oakland is not around anymore. But she played a pivotal part in my life. And I remember, first being diagnosed with it, through her and things of that nature. But because at the time there was not um, opportunities or access to help with that in the public school system, didn't get help. Again, that's a them. That's the white folks. That's those who can afford it.
Yeah.
So I struggled with dyslexia and dyscalculia my entire academic career. So to answer your question in regards to what dyscalculia is, so we know that dyslexia is when you process words and letters out of order or
Right.
backwards. It's the same thing. Dyscalculia is the same thing with numbers. So when you think of it, I could not really achieve in reading, writing, comprehension, or in math. I will always consistently get the answer wrong. Why? Because it's supposed to be a two and not a five. Or, I wrote a two, but I read a five because I'm looking at it, backwards. Or instead of it saying 38, it says 83. One thing I would say is that you said you've been here to Atlanta before, so you may know that one of their interstates here is 285 and it goes in a circle. When I first moved here, I was consistently lost trying to find my exit so that I would have the GPS, or the printouts. It was before, we had the regular GPS that said exit here. No, we had the printouts and I had to be looking at the Yahoo printouts and things like that. And it might say exit 283 and I'm getting off or looking for exit 238. And I'm like, there is no exit to, so I'm riding around the freeway in circles looking for an exit that's not there because of, my dyscalculia, or getting off at the wrong exit because of my dyscalculia and I read something backwards or out of order. And so, um, as I said, I struggled with that throughout, elementary, middle, high school, even throughout college. So my story is that I never felt smart enough for school. So, I never felt smart enough for college. So when I graduated, I knew I wanted to get out of my, life situation with lower socioeconomic status, substance abuse, poverty, um, mental illness, physical illness, all of those things that, often keep us captive in the hood, I wanted to escape from. But I wasn't smart enough to go to college. So I didn't have any other choice, really, for me. My thought but was to go into the military. So I went into the military, stayed in there for a few years, got out unintentionally. Then I went into law enforcement, did law enforcement for a few years. And I was stationed I was living in Tampa Bay and working for Hillsborough County Sheriff's Department. And my sister went to school, went to Job Corps out here, I think in like Augusta. And after she completed Job Corps, well, around the time she was ending Job Corps, she found out she was pregnant and she was moving to Atlanta. So she said, "Why don't you move out here to Atlanta, with me to help me raise our kids together?" I said, "Okay." Moved out here to Atlanta with the thought of being transferred from Hillsborough County to APD. I had
Mm-hmm.
already did the complete transfer, and then maybe like a couple of days before I was starting the academy, the transfer academy, they had said that they put a 2-year hiring freeze on
Oh,
all new hires, all new transfers. So what the heck am I going to do? So I went into private security and things like that, and I had a one of my employees who was in school, and he will always ask me, "Why don't you go back to college? Why don't you go back to school? Why don't you get?" And I'm like, nah, nah, nah. I never told him that the true reason was because I never felt smart enough.
mm.
But I didn't, and that's what kept me out of going until one day, because I got tired of him nagging me. It was one of those commercials, I'm sure you guys probably had it in Cleveland, for like a community college or a junior college type of thing. "Call here today for this nursing assistant program. Only 6 weeks and you'll have your degree in criminal justice." One of those. So I called, and I didn't think I was going to get in. I called just to prove him wrong so that my colleague can stop asking me about it. And long story short, I passed the entrance exam. I got in. I continued throughout, each course, each semester, each year, just going one day at a time, one assignment at a time. And I finished my associate's degree in criminal justice. Then I went on to get my bachelor's degree in psychology. And just kept on going, and went and got my master's in clinical psychology, and then on to get my doctorate degree in international psychology. But this is going back to, is that in the beginning, and even still, I struggle with feeling smart enough. I did not realize, well, I struggled with having dyslexia and dyscalculia all the way until my second year of my master's degree. I didn't get any, accommodations or assistance or anything like that, because I didn't know it existed. I just
Yo,
all the way through.
that is crazy. So how? Because I'm sitting here, I'm thinking like, okay, I know cops got to take some type of test.
Hmm.
Like, how do you pass that? And you,
Work hard. I had to learn what worked best for me and how I study and how I learn. Now I ain't gonna say it was easy. There was several of them exams as a law enforcement, that, well, first of all, several exams as a in the Navy that I didn't
exactly.
pass, that I had to retake again before I can graduate boot camp. There was, when I became into law enforcement, there was several exams that I had to take, written exams that I had to take over in law enforcement. The beauty of it is that, because of my dyslexia and dyscalculia, I'm more of a logical person, and I'm more of a hands-on person. So I would
Mm-hmm.
always pass the physical exams. I ran track. I was always, athletic, et cetera, et cetera. So when it came to the physical, passing the physical exams, PT, I was always, top of my class. When it came to, demonstrating anything, whether it was a takedown or having to run into a burning building, whatever the case may be, I was always top with that. What I struggled with was the academic, the written portion
Mm-hmm.
of the academics. And so I never forget when I was in my master's degree program, as I said, I didn't have any support or help the entire time until my second year of my master's degree program. And part of that is because you learn how you learn. You learn
Yeah.
what works best for you, my study habits and different things like that. And I recall I was in a statistics class and I was struggling because this class um, attacked both of my dyslexia and my dyscalculia.
Yeah.
Statistics, you have to write reports, but you also have to deal with numbers. If the numbers aren't accurate, then everything else.
Yeah, the report ain't gonna be accurate.
And so, yes, absolutely. So I was almost just about failing that class, and this was the first class I had ever failed since being in, in college. And I was, just distraught, feeling like, I'm not smart enough again. I'm a failure. See, this is why, and all those different things. And I remember this one of my classmates. She used to always seem to leave out of the class whenever it was time to do a test.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember I seen her in the bathroom one day, and this was a pivotal moment for me. I saw her in the ladies' room. She came in. I'm at the sink washing my hands, and then so she comes out the stall, and I'm still standing there singing. I asked her. I said, I look over her at her, and she's a white Jewish woman with, beautiful curly reddish brown hair. I never forget, who she was. And I look over at her, and I'm like, all matter of factly with an attitude because I'm already, I'm struggling in class and and everything, and I got a little bit of attitude because I'm stressed. And I looked over at her, and I'm like, why do you always, whenever we take a test or a quiz or something, you always leave the class? I'm thinking it's on some white privilege stuff. Like, why you always get to leave the class, white girl? I'm up here and I'm struggling and I got to stay in here. And, but no, but she says it so matter of factly. She looks at me and she's like, oh, because I got dyslexia. And I look at her and I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, I have dyslexia. And because I have dyslexia, I get special accommodations. I'm like, special accommodations? Like what? She said, oh, I get to go into a separate room. I get time and a half to do my exam.
Mm.
I get all of these, accommodations. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So a couple of things I learned. Not only was this a white woman who was not afraid to tell or to say that she had dyslexia, something I allowed to hinder me all my life. I was ashamed of. I didn't want to be known again as that just another dumb black
Yeah.
person. And so
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I never got help for it. I never told anybody once I was of age and able to get help because it was a point of shame and contention, less than stupid, whatever else. And so to see that here it is where we hold oftentimes on this hierarchy in in our world, this white man, this white woman, this white person to matter of factly say that yeah, not only do I have this learning disability same as yours, I get accommodations for it. So it helped me in a manner to be able to feel that or check my own core beliefs that I'm not dumb, I'm not stupid, I'm not all of these things that has been weighing on me for so long. So I kid you not, very next day, maybe even that same day, I went down. I'm like, I have dyslexia too. Can I get some accommodations? What accommodations can I get? And I kid you not, I passed that statistics class. I tell you that, and I passed through everything from to finish the rest of the last year of my master's degree, and all the way through my doctorate degree. Because I then got time and a half, extended time to do the, and it wasn't penalized against me. But if you don't know these things, which
Yeah.
is my job as well, is to share these things to the community. Things that I've learned, I want to be able to share because a lot of times there's a lot. And that we was talking, I had a client yesterday who I was speaking to, and she is a Asian female, and she's from China, um, and she has a family member who she started a business with.
Mm-hmm.
Now, she married a white male, and she is very super smart, college educated, very intellectual. And her husband, let's just say he's not. He didn't go to college or anything of that nature. He does more blue collar work, where
Right.
she's always worked in like fundraising, and she's lived in New York and worked her way up and all these kind of things. So fast forward to when she started this business with her family member. Both her and her husband worked at this business, and the owner, who was her family member, or co-owner, said that they wanted her husband to be the face of the company. So we thought about that and we said, well, we already know why they want him to be the face
Yeah.
behind an Asian represented company.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if he was a janitor.
Yeah. He
I'm
got
gonna
the
go
look.
janitor, put a suit, nice shirt on him, and say, here, be the face of our company. If he was white, a white male, because that's what's going to bring in the funding. That's what's going to bring in the support.
Yeah. It's a sad reality in our society, but it's absolute truth. And unfortunately, it's a good business move on their part.
Absolutely.
You know, man, this has been interesting though. Wow. So if people want to get in contact with you, if they want to use your services, more importantly, how do they go about finding you?
So you can find me at Dr. Olivia West on all social media platforms. Every Thursday at 8 o'clock, I have my podcast, Dr. O After Dark, where we are keeping it real, raw, and relevant as we discuss how trauma impacts us in our community on a daily basis. So you can always come in and tune in to Dr. O After Dark. You can email me at Dr. That's Dr. Olivia West, or excuse me, that's Olivia at droliviawest.com. If you want to seek out any of our mental health services, at my organization that I am the founder and clinical director of, which is Out of the Box Counseling, Coaching, and Consulting. We have about 24 clinicians that work under us. You can call us directly here at 404-900-9583, or you can email me directly at Olivia at Out of the Box CCC. So that's 3 C's for counseling, coaching, and consulting. Again, that's Olivia at outoftheboxccc.com.
Yo, you got 24 people?
That work under me? Yes, I have 24 clinicians that work under me. Absolutely.
Yo, that's so dope. If nobody has told you today, I'm absolutely proud of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I can't wait to come back again because we can get into some
Oh my
yes,
God. Like,
we
yeah,
can
we
have a
definitely
little,
got.
like a lot of fun. And I really like having fun, but bringing it to bringing in that mental health and intellectual aspect of it. Talking about, hot topics, people in it. I mean, we all know about the Kanye West and his mental health, and what's his name with all them kids? Uh, I know it's a lot of them, but Nick Cannon. Nick Nick Cannon and all his kids and all their mamas and all that. And so what I like to do is look at things, and say, okay, how did this person get here, to be able to bring it to a humanistic point for everyone. We may not be celebrities, we may not be well known and famous, but I guarantee the same stuff that they're going through, Tyrese and everybody else.
Yo, your man's be out here lying too. Tyrese, you gotta stop it, bro. Like, look, man, I've been in the medical field for 3 decades plus, and for you to blame a psychiatric med for this meltdown that you had for months, stop it, man.
I was scratching my head because when I seen that, I was like, What
like,
psychiatric instruments do they have
right.
him?
I'm like, nigga, please. That's what I said. Literally. Are you fucking kidding me, man? Stop it. Like,
That's
you just.
supposed to, help and make you, but not cause you to go into some, unless he was taking it with alcohol or some other drug.
I mean, not to say that there aren't side effects. I don't want to dismiss
Oh
that
yeah,
aspect.
absolutely.
But my man made it seem like he took a pill and a month later he's still tripping. No, bruh, you just nuts.
Yeah,
Something ain't
I don't
right.
know the whole thing, behind it. I do know I did watch, I think, the one with the Breakfast Club when they were trying to
That's exactly what
mend,
I'm talking about. Yes.
mend things or whatever. And so my thought, from what I was hearing, was when they were saying that he disrespected his wife and just said a whole lot of horrible things when he was under this. The thing is that we still, regardless, medication, mental health, we still have control over our own selves, our own minds, and our own actions. So anything you want to do, or anything you do or you say, is because you want it to.
Yo, your man's girlfriend got on the internet and told the whole world, I really wanted your boy. And you still with her. And I'm usually not a messy type of individual, at least not on my
Is that his
podcast.
new lady?
Yes, this Instagram model.
I don't even know who it is, because I know he goes through women like I changed my panties. I mean, he was married and going through this divorce. And then next thing I know, I was watching something of his, like it popped up the other day, and he was showing off a new award that he got or whatever, and his mantle on his fireplace, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's my baby." I'm like, "When did you get a new? You got a new baby with pictures, several pictures on your mantle plate already?"
Right. It's like he falls in love in 12 minutes.
Tyrese,
Which is that is trauma right there.
it is Tyrese, black tie, my baby from Coca-Cola, bald head, sexy chocolate, and a beautiful smile. I love you to death. Baby, I'm telling you, there's some things that need to be unpacked and dissected. Come hit up Dr. O, Dr. Olivia West on all my platforms. I'll even give you my personal number.
Ooh, well,
Now,
damn.
you might be running away because your ex-wife was a therapist, and he may be like, I don't know about that therapy. But no, seriously, when I hear that, it tells, and when I look at the patterns, just even from his first marriage and his first daughter and all the other, and then the psychological breakdown he was having, even after all the nonsense from his first child, it goes and it says it's something deeper there. It's more there. And what happens oftentimes is that we hold people on a pedestal because we see where they're at with their accomplishments, where they're at now, and where they're at with their success. We don't know all of the trauma and all the history that happened before we knew them. I think Tyrese started out when he was 15 years old in the music industry. We don't know how the traumatic experiences he's experienced from the music and arts industry, and we definitely don't know before that. I know that I never hear him talking about his dad and only about his, mom. So we can assume that I can assume that he's from a single parent household.
Hmm.
And when we think about that, then we think about, okay, well, if your dad was never a part of your life, then there's a void there. There is, potentially negative thoughts of what's wrong with me. Why is my dad never wanted to be a part, of my life? I'm unlovable. Now, rational mind, 40 plus, 50 plus, 30 plus, whatever it is, will say that I know it didn't have nothing to do with me. I know that my dad was a deadbeat, or I know that, my mom and my dad divorced or whatever because of their issues or whatever was going on with them. Or I know that, my mom decided to leave, my dad, and it wasn't my fault. I know all of those things. That's that irrational mind.
Mm-hmm.
But that emotional mind, that irrational mind, what it comes in, what it says is that it questions, am I lovable? Am I likable? And when you're feeling your worst of your worst, like something comes and hits you at it and it triggers you, like what we've seen with Tyrese and his kids, whether it's through the courts or whatever, that's a trigger, and it triggers back to him. See, I told you,
Yeah.
all your success, you still ain't about shit.
I don't
All
make it no better either.
day, you still unlovable. All of this, all of that, you still tainted. And so that leads him to go out and continue to find voids to feel that.
Yeah. And I am absolutely part of the problem because I talk about him, and I shouldn't. I should be more empathetic. Um, I, it's hard though.
Well, we can all, I believe we're all guilty of that at some point, of being a part of the problem, you know, adding to the problem, saying our, whatever the case may be. But just as the old saying goes, you're pointing one finger out at them, you have three more pointed back in yourself. Now, as a person in the entertainment field, I believe that's part of your job. If you didn't talk about hot topics, if you did, but it was all stuffy, and you're like, oh well, I have compassion. Nobody talk about Tyrese or anything else like that. You're not gonna get your views, your ratings, your livelihood. No. So it has to be, talked about. And unfortunately, because you're a celebrity, you're in a spotlight.
Who's a celebrity?
No, him, Tyrese.
Oh, I'm like, I'm no
I mean, his
celebrity.
job, you a celebrity. You got the
Shit.
intellectual petty going on. You a
Shit.
celebrity. but no,
Shit.
I done seen all the people you got on here working with big names like Drake and not
Yeah,
Drake,
right.
not Drake, Doctor, big names in my, Tupac, Dr. Dre, all of them. I'm like, oh, okay.
Uh, yeah.
Hey, Dre.
If I had Dr. Dre out here, no, no. I just like having good conversations with dope people. You know, at some point, I've never really been big, and that's part of my problem. I just don't want to build anything on tearing people down.
Exactly. But that is so much of the world. Look at Tasha K and Cardi B. This beef they got going on. I
Yeah,
ain't
but
trying to
they,
have, I ain't trying to
but
have all that.
if you
So
listen to Cardi B, she not happy with that shit.
she isn't. But who
No.
would be? But I mean, because people think that celebrities, or people treat celebrities like they're not human.
Yeah, yeah,
They can
and
take
like,
anything. I can talk about them. I can say this. I can say that, and they're just supposed to take it. Not that they have the same traumatic experiences as us. Not to, if you even look at Cardi B's lifestyle. Now she's made to a good level of success, financial success.
yeah,
But if you live in a life to where you had to become a stripper to take care of you and your family as a teenager, would you not think there was some trauma experience there?
and then basically you still doing it.
And we hold them onto a pedestal.
Yeah, you're just getting a
But
bigger bag
because
for it.
they don't, it's the saying that when you know better, you do better. But no,
Right.
this is the stuff that pays me. So I'm gonna still talk about my wet ass pussy. I'm gonna still have my ass all out, even though I don't need to do any of that. But that's what, how I got here, my claim to fame, and that's what pays me.
Yeah.
Now, I love me some Cardi B. Nothing, nobody can tell me about Cardi B. And I'll tell you the reason why. It's because I can say that out of everybody who talking all this stuff, she gives back.
Yeah.
She gives back, and she does
Yeah.
not have to. I
Yeah.
know living here in Atlanta, and she lives in Atlanta now with, her husband, and shout out to him being from, my county, Gwinnett County, all that kind of stuff. And so they live here now, and she gives back. My daughter was in frequents Children's Hospital,
Hmm.
and the most pivotal, my daughter just turned 11, the most pivotal moment for her was when she met Cardi B. Now, my daughter don't even know Cardi B. She knows Kids Bop Cardi B. So she knows all the Kids Bop versions of her song, and but so she loves her to death. Like now, WAP is not a kids. There's no Kids Bop version of WAP.
I hope not.
They'll be like, get this wet old pizza. Yeah, it's cheesy and saucy. Get this wet old pizza. My daughter will be back there like, wet old pizza. Wet. I'm like, what? It's salty. What is? Yeah, no, we're
Oh
not.
my
No, we're
God.
not doing no wet old pizza.
Yo, oh, I'm sorry. I gotta shout out your assistant too.
Yes.
You're phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Thank
Very
you.
helpful, very understanding. Yeah, because I did have to. For those you don't know, I had to reschedule. So I had some shit going on personally. But man, it's just like I understand. Let's make it happen.
Yes.
You know,
No,
so
we can talk offline about the shit you had going on personally. I know you had to reschedule. I wanted to check in and make sure you were okay.
oh well, I didn't die. I had to go to the hospital.
I hope you didn't die. And then that means I'll be talking to
Yeah,
a
this will be
spirit
odd. This will be
or a
weird.
ghost or something.
Although quite lit. Like if I gotta die and I can still do this, I'm cool. You
Let me
know.
tell you, if you was there, I would be pulling out my hoodoo cards like, past, present, future. What is going on
Let
here?
me give you some lottery numbers. You know, I got the hookup now.
Ancestors, come back. What is what number in the alphabet is JOBS
Oh man,
close to, because that's the lottery numbers I'm gonna play.
I swear
Fourteen,
that was my
22.
mother. Like everything is in it's in the book. That's a hold on. You had a dream about leather. Oh, I got a number for that. Hold on. Oh my God, bless her soul. But no, like after you have heart surgery, it's always something. Or
Hearts. Oh my goodness, hearts are.
yeah, yeah, so that I was having some issues, and I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like related to my heart. So yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be, but
Okay, well,
I
good. I'm
still had
glad it wasn't as
to.
bad as you thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, pretty much like once or twice a year, I end up in the hospital. They run tests and do all of this and tell me I'm trash as an individual. I could eat better and I'm too fat.
Yeah,
Um, so I'm trying. I would like to be around for a long time. So
completely understood. So
yeah,
you gotta take care of yourself.
yeah.
Ooh, that we can't be having them scares. We can't be having them scares.
You
That's what I'm
shit.
saying. You too young. You can't be having them scares.
Oh my God, Lord! That's what they be saying when I'm in the hospital. Oh, you sure are young. That's not helping. You making me feel worse. Like, bruh, I know I shouldn't be having this shit happen to me. Like, it's too
Exactly.
late now. I can't undo it.
I remember when I got diagnosed with arthritis in my
Ooh.
30s. I was like, you mean like the stuff that my grandmother has, like the old people? Like, what are you talking about? I got arthritis, degenerative arthritis in my back. Are you? Excuse me?
Oh, that's got to be painful.
It is. It's horrible. It's horrible. But I'm like, geez, can I at least get to 50, 60?
Hey, you know what? At this point, though, the I got all my kids are grown. I got grandkids, so it's scary. But I'm also man, I'm just so blessed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not scared for my daughter's lives without me. They'll be fine. They're great adults, great people. I like them. So they'll be fine. It'll suck, but they'll be
You ain't
fine without
gonna
me.
stop talking like you going somewhere soon.
Hey, every day is a blessing.
I hear that.
You know, and I'm sorry. I know I done went over time. I do
No, this is
apologize.
good conversation. I would love to opportunity to be back. This is,
Oh,
as I said,
have the assistant reach out to my people. My
I
people being
sure
me.
will, because when I was sitting here, I was like, intellectual Patty. Oh yeah, you gotta stay tuned for Doctor O After Dark, because we professionally Patty. Maybe that's why I
See,
need to change my title to professionally Patty.
I need to come get on Doctor O after dark.
Absolutely. So Ty will reach out to you
Yeah, that would
and
be dope.
have you come on. Get you lined up to come on as a guest. It's mutual. Yes, I love to have you as a guest.
Yeah, I seen that. I was like, oh, that looks lit. You know, I like that. I could do the after dark.
Come on, I'll be sitting on the other side of my office, not here in the doctor chair, looking all professional and stuff.
Oh, although the little candy thing behind you, I need one of those. Oh my god, that's so dope.
Oh
That's
my jelly
that's
bean dispenser.
oh my goodness. Only I
Send
think
me
I
your
put some
address.
jolly.
I'll make sure you get one.
I'll put some Jolly Ranchers in that boy. Whew. That,
I don't know. Now this one is actually a bank, so you're gonna have to, it keeps your cravings down, because you
oh,
actually got to
you
put
gotta
a
put
penny or
money in
something
there.
in there.
Ooh, I need the freebie. I don't shit. The candy
Well,
is
see the
enough.
freebies. You get it just from,
Oh,
because you the
yeah.
boss. You just take it off the top. You just unlist the top. But everybody else that's coming in there, the grandkids, them kids that's talking about they want something. You got to give me a penny. You got to give me I don't even accept pennies. You got to give me a quarter, a dime, a nickel, something.
Yeah, inflation is pennies don't even exist.
Not
They
anymore.
ain't
So we're
doing
gonna
it.
put this right in here. Got a nice
Yeah.
little jar.
Uh oh. I ain't doing shit for no penny. No, you ain't get no candy.
These jelly beans in here. See, when you're doing good, you put that in there, and I will give you a nice little reward for 10 cents. For 10 cents, I got 2 jelly beans.
I'm not mad at that though. I'll take two jelly beans for a dime.
Inflation.
Well, anyway, I'm gonna let you go. Enjoy your day. This has been an honor and a privilege, and I thank you for stopping by.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an honor and a privilege as well.
And I'll throw a couple clips out there, just you know,
Okay.
of your greatness. Let the people know. Just
I'll
to
be
keep it
looking for
going.
them.
I'm gonna have to use that Tyrese one. Maybe he'll give you a call.
Yes, tag them. Be like, shout out.
I absolutely will.
Shout out to my boy Tyrese.
Black tie, where you at?
Black tie, where
Anyway,
you at? Come on now.
anyway, thank you again. And shout out to your family and your assistant. Tell them if they need anything, hit me up.
All right,
I don't
Dre and
have
all
much, but
Tupac, all y'all. Tupac come from the grave. Dre, you hit me up. I can watch y'all
yeah,
that.
right. My broke ass. Shit, Tupac wouldn't be on my show, although that would be dope. He's somewhere in Cuba.
We gonna claim it.
Yeah, that
I said
man's
the
still
Dominican
somewhere.
Republic, but Cuba works.
I think the DR they tell on him. Cuba,
Now,
yeah.
see, if he goes to one of the ones that where there is too much tourists, and of course they'll tell on him. But he back in the in the jungle, in the cut somewhere, living la vida loca.
All right, let me get out of here before I don't get out of here. All right.
All right, then we'll be here all day. You
I
have a
know.
good one.
You too.
All right, bye bye.
Bye bye. Yo, that was just so phenomenal. And truly appreciate Dr. O. And if you need anything and you are in Atlanta or Georgia or you just want to drive down there and talk to somebody, please look her up. Check out the show. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that shit. Anyway, man, this has been another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio. I am Jobs, and y'all have a good one. I'm out.